This was the second step in the
Testing. There we go.
The arrival of Imperial allies in the Great War was a devastating blow from which the Republic never fully recovered. This was the second step in the Sith Emperor's master plan. Recent Republic strategic information reports proved that the rise of the Mandalorians was orchestrated by Imperial intelligence. The arrival of Imperial allies in the Great War was a devastating blow from which the Republic never fully recovered. This was the second step in the Sith Emperor's master plan. Recent Republic strategic information reports proved that the rise of the Mandalorians was orchestrated by Imperial intelligence. We know extremely little about this shadowy organization, but Imperial intelligence operatives are clearly just as deadly as their Sith superiors.
Oh, wow.
The galaxy's criminal networks wavered endlessly during the Great War, debating whether to back the Republic or the Empire. Although the Hutt cartels resented the Sith Emperor for not including them in his pre-war conspiracy, Imperial intelligence somehow blocked the Republic's efforts to win the Hutt's support.
So basically, like how it showed in the movies, the Hutt cartel was just as powerful back then too. Wow. So their organization was just that powerful for thousands of years. That was crazy. So this is the Empire's change in strategy. So instead of just straight up warfare, like sending in ships and soldiers, now they're like trying to use criminal, underworld criminal organizations and trying to build more connections. That's what I'm getting.
Scattered around the galaxy, Mandalorian mercenaries and bounty hunters faced the same choice as the Hutts. Some signed on with the Empire, but most remained independent.
That looked like Bosk.
Imperial diplomats made repeated attempts to recruit the galaxy's most infamous bounty hunters, but were turned down every time. The Empire shifted its tactics. Mandalorian mercenaries and bounty hunters often fought as gladiators for money and glory, a mark of honor in the Mandalorian culture. Imperial agents used this to their advantage, infiltrating the most prominent gladiatorial arenas in the galaxy, as managers and sponsors, and even in some cases as gladiators themselves.
Wonderful.
The Imperial agents singled out a proud young gladiator to be their pawn. This young gladiator had always fared well in the arena, but with his new Imperial allies, his rise was accelerated to unprecedented levels. Rigging arena fights is not unheard of, but Imperial agents brazenly sabotaged the entire system by drugging their champion's competition. None could stand against him. The whispers of Imperial agents became cheers in the arena. Mandalore, Mandalore. The ancient title of Ultimate Warrior King was thrust upon the young gladiator. His infamy grew, and when he called, the Mandalorians rallied to their new master. The new Mandalore secretly served masters of his own, however. Imperial agents pulled their puppet strings, and the Mandalorian army blockaded the Hydean Way and challenged the Jedi. Though the blockade was eventually broken, the stage was set for the sacking of Coruscant and the uneasy truce which now paralyzes the Republic. The Mandalorian-Sith alliance remains intact to this day. That could change if the original ruse was brought to light, but the Imperial intelligence covers its tracks too well. Mandalore was slain recently, and his killer, the new Mandalore, has taken his place. Whether or not he's another Imperial puppet remains to be seen, but we must watch him closely. Imperial agent success in bringing the Mandalorians into the war was the counterplay to the Republic's first string of victories, the subject of my next report.
So what I got from this video was the Empire tried to hire mercenaries and bounty hunters to do their work, but since they were like rejected the entire time, they decided to like move towards gladiators, especially towards Mandalorians, because Mandalorians are pretty strong and they train from birth to like manhood. So I guess like if they like controlled the leader, the Mandalore, then they pretty much control the entire Mandalorian army. So, that's a pretty interesting change in strategy. All right, next video.
When the Emperor planned the Republic's destruction, he did not foresee the need for alliances. The Sith would sweep through the galaxy, systematically exterminating their age-old Jedi enemies and dismantling the proud Republic. But the Emperor's vision was cynical. He did not count on the brave sacrifices the Republic's heroes were willing to make. After the Sith offensive seized the Siswina sector of the Outer Rim, the Imperial Armada turned its sights closer to the core, the Mid-Rim. Believing the Republic was still recovering from its heavy losses, Imperial forces charged into Bothan space, where they were caught off guard by the full force of the Republic fleet. The Republic fleet obliterated the Imperial squadron, and the Battle of Bothahui became the Republic's first major victory in the war.
That was their first major victory? I mean, like in the past videos, we've been seeing the Sith like sweeping the Republic, like the destruction of the Jedi and Coruscant itself, the Jedi retreating back to their homeworld of what's it called? Tython, and also like how they describe the Mandalorians joining the Sith, and Mandalorians are very formidable fighters, and they blockaded a very critical hyperspace trade route for the Republic. I mean, the entire time it was just Sith victories. So now we're finally get to see the Republic like counterattack. Wow. I mean, like it took me off guard when he said first major victory, and I was like, and we're almost like halfway through the playlist.
The news spread across the galaxy, rekindling lost hopes and re-energizing exhausted defenders. The Republic fleet moved on, but a courageous force of Jedi and Republic soldiers remained on Bothahui to await the Empire's return.
Like Imperial scout troopers.
The vengeance of the Sith came swiftly. Imperial battle cruisers from around the galaxy closed in on Bothan space to recoup their losses. A high-powered planetary shield protected Bothahui from bombardment, forcing the Imperial forces to engage on the ground. Jedi Master Belthalusis, 7 dozen of the Order's finest knights, and 4,000 Republic soldiers dug in to defend the shield generators, or die trying. The disparity was staggering. An unprecedented Imperial army, 50,000 strong, descended on Bothahui's brave defenders.
4,000 versus 50,000.
The defenders were undaunted, with no expectation of survival. They were mindful only of their duty. But overconfident Imperial determination, their lines were whittled away until only a handful of soldiers and Jedi remained. They rallied to the Jedi Master Eleusis for a final stand.
Hold up. 4,000 Republic soldiers and Jedi against 50,000 Sith like soldiers and I guess maybe the Sith warriors. And by the time like a lot of time has passed, the Sith who had 50,000 had to call in reinforcements, not the Republic. Man, that is crazy.
Imperial Grand Moff Zelos offered to spare Master Eleusis if he and his brave comrades would surrender. Neither pride nor foolhardiness drove the defenders' decision. They were guided by the Force. They had passed beyond the fear of death. Their glorious last stand will never be forgotten. Eleusis and his men fell, but not before the Imperials were driven to retreat. The Battle of Bathawui was a draw. The heroes of Bathawui inspired bold New Republic strategies that eventually halted the Empire's advances. In retrospect, though, the Republic had lost too many systems in the early years of the Great War. The execution of the Emperor's brilliant strategy was flawless. Survival was the best the Republic could hope for. I've spent much time now piecing together the puzzle of the Emperor's initial designs, and I have a theory that is quite surprising. I'll develop that for my next report.
It was crazy. I mean, they said that the Battle of Bathawui was a draw, a way that I would consider it personally. I would consider it a Republic victory because if the Sith had to like call in reinforcements and they lost a lot more than the Republic, so in a way, it's a Republic victory. All right, next video. Onslaught of the Sith Empire.
The onslaught of the Sith Empire was an event unlike any other in the history of the Republic. The Sith materialized from nowhere and launched an offensive of colossal proportions. Horrifying reports from the Outer Rim seemed to portend the utter destruction of the Republic. The rapid onset of galaxy-wide terror and panic was part of the Sith Emperor's meticulous calculations. His plan was flawless. Sith battlecruisers first appeared on the fringes of the Tingle Arm. Unaware of the ship's origins, we dispatched a diplomatic convoy with a small starfighter escort. The Emperor wanted us to witness the full might of his forces before he attacked. The diplomats had just enough time to transmit images back. Then they were annihilated. Immediately thereafter, the Sith began a full assault on the Republic allies in the Aparo sector, which fell before the Republic fleet even arrived. Then our allies turned on us. The Sith had secretly established puppet governments on Belkadon, Serpenal, and Ruria. The Republic fleet suddenly found itself in enemy territory, fighting desperately on all sides. The Republic rallied every available ship to support the fleet, leaving only a handful of Jedi security ships to patrol Korriban. Regrettably, Korriban fell back into the enemy's hands without the Jedi Council even knowing about it.
I think that was the first trailer that we saw, where we saw like a kind of like a Han Solo character that was like of the Republic, and then the two Jedis sensed something, and then like a massive Sith fleet just came out of hyperspace, and then like attacked the space station and reclaimed Korriban. So I'm guessing this is kind of like the information of that trailer. But man, so I mean, like the Sith Empire came out of nowhere and just like attacked, and they already, this was like planned because if they already had like public governments in like Republic systems, then this was just planned way ahead of time, and now pretty much everything's in place. So the Sith started making their moves.
Overwhelmed and desperate, the Republic fleet scattered, fleeing from the Tingle Arm to avoid complete annihilation. Elsewhere in the Outer Rim, the Sith staged more targeted strikes, destroying our shipyards in the Sluy sector, blockading the Rimma trade route, and seizing control of the rich resources of the Minos cluster. Confused and in complete disarray, Republic forces were unable to respond. Republic leaders and members of the Jedi Council arranged an emergency meeting in the Senate to prioritize the galaxy's defense. but the session quickly became mired in politics. Irate senators stormed out in protest over decisions which left their representative sectors exposed to attack. Many of the Republic's diplomatic allies refused military support for the greater cause. It was every system for itself. This was perhaps the greatest genius of the Emperor's plot. He had turned the Republic against itself. While the Republic played in those early years had individual Jedi masters and Republic military leaders waited for the Senate's orders. By taking matters into their own hands, they managed to slow the Empire's advances. The attack of the Sith Empire was the most well-orchestrated and carefully coordinated military maneuver in the galaxy's history. Indications suggest the operation took centuries of planning and preparation. I'll elaborate in my next report.
So now we're back to a Sith victory. While the Republic victory didn't last long, just like one or two victories, and all of a sudden the Sith started winning again. Wow. So so basically, not just superior firepower, but the Emperor knew that if with enough like time and like victories, the politicians will pretty much like turn against each other because they're trying to like keep their own positions of power and also try to protect their sectors. But with the lack of resources and military support, the Republic can't protect all the systems. So basically now, as mentioned in the video, it was every system for itself. So basically, in a way, they're saying like we don't want the Republic's help. So now the Republic was like pretty much divided, and like there was like barely support. They were barely even supporting each other. Wow, that was crazy. Okay, wow. So that was the second part of Star Wars: The Old Republic Galactic Timeline. So I decided to like split this up into 3 videos. So in the next video should like finish off the entire playlist. But wow, this one was a little bit like different because in the first video it was pretty much like all Sith victories, but this one was a bit more like of both. So like the recruiting of the Mandalorians because the Sith agents tried to recruit the Hutt cartel and also not gladiators, mercenaries and bounty hunters, but now they shifted their tactics to like Mandalorians, and then on top of that, the Republic started like having another foothold in like counterattacking and had like 2 major victories, which was a space battle and the Battle of Bathoui, where 4,000 basically triumphed against 50,000, even though it resulted in complete death. The Sith had to call in reinforcements. So if 50,000 could not defeat 4,000, it's basically a Republic victory, even though the record said it was a draw. And on top of that, the onslaught of the Sith Empire. So the Emperor pretty much like used more cunning by establishing puppet governments and Republic systems. So when the time came, the Republic will be like completely caught off guard, so there will be no support in the Outer Rim. And when it came to the Mid Rim, when the Sith Empire started closing into the Mid Rim, the Republic was like losing support and resources, and the politicians started like not even supporting each other and started saying like, hey, I need help, but the Republic won't even help me. So now it's every man for himself. So the Republic turned against itself, which is, in my opinion too, like that was a brilliant strategy by the Emperor. So who knows, maybe in the next video I predict 2 things. One, the Sith like completely annihilates the Republic, but somehow like a small part of like Jedi Order or something like survives, so that's how the Republic like still stands to this day. Or I say like the next few videos will be like major Republic victories that push the Sith all the way back to where the galaxy is like divided in half between light and dark. That's my prediction. But anyways guys, thank you guys for watching. I really enjoyed this video. I mean, it was amazing. videos. They were amazing. So keep an eye out for more content, and also keep an eye out for part 3, and also check out my other videos and other gameplays that I have on my channel, like my reaction videos and my gameplays to like God of War, Far Cry 6, and Assassin's Creed. And I hope you guys are having an amazing day. And I mean, we're so close to 100 subs, so thank you guys again for your continued support, and I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and I'll see you guys next time.